If you're a tradie or a contracting business owner losing hours every week to poor scheduling, today I'm going to show you how to get your calendar under control. Now, this is a private session we ran for our members, but I'm going to share it with you now for free.
I just brought up the labor utilization worksheet, and you don't need to know like how to use this or where it is just yet. But if you do want to know, pretty much it's under the financial resources and you can go and grab this at any time. But what this tells you, if you put in a couple of key figures here, the hourly rate that I pay my team member, so whatever that is, maybe it's $35 an hour, and then whatever that charge out rate is, I need those two figures. And this is worked out by individual team members. And then the amount of weeks that they work per year, which is generally 48, right? Most places they're taking 4 weeks off in a year due to annual leave. There'll be some other leave in there for stat days or bank holidays and things like that, and sick days as well. But what is the general weeks worked per year? And then if you're going to be really accurate about this, like what is the total labor hours paid? So that's their paid hours in a day, obviously their hours at work minus their lunch break. How many total labor hours have gone to charge up? And then how many total labor hours have gone to fixed price? And that's like allocated chargeable work. And so you might find that there's a gap in here. And so the gap tells you the productivity rate, which in this case, we've lost a few hours, which is 87.8%. So looking back and thinking about a lot of your guys' responses, a lot of them were more than 12% or 13%, right? So in this specific case, where the charge out's 95 and the paid rate is 35, in a year, if that stays as it is, we're losing almost 10 grand in terms of just the costs. But the cost isn't even the scary number, it's the opportunity cost. So this is the weekly lost potential charge out, so the sale rate based on their charge out, and it's only the labor that you're charging out. So that's $25,000 in a year, or $500 a week that you're losing to opportunity costs. So the potential that you could have these guys charged out. So if this number is a lot worse and your productivity rate is about like 30% that you're losing, obviously that's going to really stack on, and the opportunity cost there gets bigger and bigger and bigger. The thing you've got to add to that is if you guys are normally going out and selling on site, or you're selling materials with their labor, which most of you are, that opportunity cost is even bigger again, right? Yeah, Jenny, under the financial resources, just called the labor utilization worksheet. So like I said, I didn't really want to labor this too much today. But just to really kickstart the thinking of why this is so important, I thought I would just bring that up and show you this right at the top of the session. So let's chat about some of the problems if, hey, you aren't taking the time to really schedule efficiently. There's a bunch of reasons. So the first one I want to discuss quickly is just the poor utilization. So like we talked about before, labor isn't always chargeable, and the guys might be standing around maybe waiting till they get to their next job, or they get given their next job, standing around waiting for maybe the builders to show up, or if they're really unconfident, maybe they're even coming back to the workshop to see what's going on and to figure out where they're going next. But it isn't just the guys, right? If you're sending people, maybe to the North Shore of New Zealand and then down to Manukau, or North Shore of Auckland, and then down to Manukau, and are stuck in traffic, that's like a long way to drive, and it's a lot of lost time, which adds up in the fuel as well. Or maybe if you're in Sydney, for example, maybe one job is up in the hills, and then the next job is down in Bankstown. And so there's lots of chargeable time loss because we're mucking around getting the guys to go from one side of town to the other, and it's pretty inefficient with your fuel as well. But hey, it doesn't even stop there. There's things like toll road charges that we need to factor. It's things like materials not being delivered to the site at all, or not being delivered on time. Maybe jobs that are being completed need your certifying tradesman to show up. So the job gets done, and then you haven't scheduled your certifying tradesman, or you, if that's you, to show up because either they're stuck on other jobs or they're doing other things. So they're not getting the jobs completed, so they can't be invoiced. And so these things can drag on, and that can obviously affect your cash flow and affect jobs going from 1 month to the next, and taking a long time to be able to actually complete them. The next thing is that it can cause a little bit of mania in the workplace as well. So when it's not clear, hey, it can be stressful for you guys. And it can actually lead to the guys getting frustrated. If they aren't being, so if they're being told to go to one place in 1 minute, and then they're being told to go across town the next, or hey, stop what you're doing, even though you just set up, because we need you to go somewhere else urgently, it can be a little bit frustrating. And it's maybe because A builder wasn't prepared, or the site wasn't prepared when you guys showed up, or maybe the homeowner wasn't home when the team showed up because you didn't make the phone call checking if they were actually going to be home and confirm the time. Maybe they showed up, but yeah, we didn't know until the tradesman got there or just before. So then the plan deviates, right? Most people actually want to get stuck in and do a good job. And we've got to allow them to do that with our scheduling. And when people don't feel like they're doing a good job, it can sometimes bring them down and actually cause underperformance as well. So it's something to consider. And the last one is, hey, you could be letting your clients down. When you can't be too accurate with your scheduling, you can't give accurate times of when you'll show. Right? Sometime in June isn't really that helpful, is it? Or maybe promising a time and getting there 3 hours late after you've even rescheduled the job twice. It feels a bit like an overpromise and an underdeliver on your part before you've even started doing the work. Hey, not sure if any of you guys have experienced this before, but it's kind of like when you buy tickets to like your favorite band, you don't really care about the openers. You only care about the main event. And you go and you watch the opening acts, and the opening act started at 7, and it's like maybe 10 or 11 p.m. before the main act actually comes on to see the one that you paid for. And so you're standing around for a while in between acts, and you don't really care about the first ones. And then they really have to deliver. They really have to deliver an outstanding performance to make you remember that as a great experience. Often they do, but I guess the question begs is, are your guys living up to the same standard as like Metallica or Elton John or 50 Cent if you're into that type of jam as well, right? So we've got to think about this stuff. But hey, on the other side of this, if you have a really solid scheduling process in place and you're nailing it, there are some opportunities. So your team are utilized and are efficient. Right? Maybe your labor utilization, maybe you're measuring it and it's up at that 95% or 100%, or if you're doing like maintenance work, it actually can be over 100% as well if the guys are always chargeable and you're running job to job and maybe you're rounding up in terms of your time. You'll be a lot more efficient with your fuel spend, and you guys will be on the right jobs for their expertise and experience. And when your team have a good time and get to do the job and do a good job, they won't feel rushed, they won't be mucked around, and they can deliver that like main event experience, yeah? And they'll in turn feel pretty stoked about doing a pretty good job. And if you back that up with some appreciation, they'll continue to deliver what you are wanting. And you have happy clients, and stoked clients are stoked with quick and efficient and clear service. And when your client knows when you'll show, they'll be prepared for you to just come and do the work and carry on. And they'll be much more prepared to pay you on time and for everything that you bill as well. And the bonus on top of this is that if they're stoked with how good of a job that you do, they'll sing your praise widely, and you get those testimonials on wheels going and the promoters of your business. And the last one is you can become cash flow confident. Right? With efficient scheduling comes confidence in when jobs are going to complete, and in turn creates confidence in when you'll be paid from your customer or your client. And when you know when money's coming in and out, you have more cash flow confidence. And if you're confident about your cash, you're confident to make decisions that will impact your cash. That's often in your overheads. So that might be things like purchasing new equipment or financing it, or getting new office staff, or and that might be an admin or an ops manager or an estimator, or new vehicles. I can go into those purchases with a lot more confidence because you know when the money's coming in the door. Let's grab a big thumbs up in the camera if that is landing, team. Love it. All right, cool. So there's 5 keys that I want to go through with scheduling efficiently. So the first one is we've got to take the time. So the first step to taking the time is actually understanding the opportunity cost of choosing to spend the time scheduling over doing all the other things that come up, the reactive stuff. So if I decide not to do the 30 minutes of scheduling today, what time efficiency am I giving up? Right? Could the guys go and do a good job that isn't prepared either at the stage, where it's ready for you and the material's getting there, or the material's even showing up, or maybe the homeowner's not there. All right, but if you sacrifice that one job that you went to do, or go on a site to do a measure up, or even if even if you're out your areas full of work, like what difference would that actually make? But it's not a 5-minute task either. It's not a 5-minute weekly exercise. This actually needs planning to ensure that daily jobs are organized and is sorted in the right order with the right amount of people on the right jobs. So you need to think about like 3 things mainly. So first one is location. right? Maybe using Google Maps to ensure that you're getting jobs done in the right orders or in close suburbs, sending the guys to do a couple of jobs in the same area of town in the same day. If you're doing emergency work, ensuring that you have someone to move or a floater maybe on hand, someone who's there with some free time slots, maybe every day of the week or every second day if you need it, to make sure that you're fitting in those breakdowns or emergency jobs and you're not scheduling everyone and then you're having to go and do it, or your ops manager's having to go do those emergency breakdowns. So if you have a lot of emergency work come up, have someone that's actually dedicated to coming off site if that's needed, or being a floater ready to go, because you might be putting in jobs every day for that one person to make sure they're going to that emergency breakdown. So that's a floater. And the other one is, if you have to get certain jobs signed off, you need to ensure that you have your certifying tradesmen ready to get there as the job completes. That way you can get the job invoiced and out ASAP, so it'll get paid ASAP. So, hey, for different types of trade, this may be slightly different. For service work, this may take a little bit more time and a little bit more energy, constant communication between tradesmen and your customers, be it homeowners or businesses as well. So it really depends on the type of work that you do, of who you're going to be spending your time scheduling often. Second one is the right role. Like, this actually can be quite heavy lifting work. And if your priorities aren't telling you this is more important than maybe a bunch of other things that you're doing already, you may need a role in place to actually get this done. This is telling you that you can't make time for it, right? And this will generally be an ops manager, but in some businesses, it might be an actual scheduler, or it might be an office admin that has scheduling as a primary part of their role. But if it's an ops manager, like, their role is to run the day-to-day. Right? Ensure your team are prepared for the job ahead, being on time to this job and the next and the next. And if there are delays, like making sure that you're shifting and moving and putting the team onto another job, or getting onto some non-urgent work if you have a little hopper of that as well. And to really nail this, having dedicated time and potentially a role that's coordinating with clients and enabling you to deliver that killer experience, you have the ability to say, hey, I'll have someone there at 2 p.m. tomorrow, and actually turn up on time. So it's the old under promise and over deliver. So this thing actually needs to be in your default diary or in somebody's default diary. So if it's not, that's the first step to taking the time, right? Like, actually carving out time in that default calendar to make sure that you're doing it if it's your job, or somebody else is doing it if you can't get it into your role. That's really key. Third thing is, you've got to plan for more than your people, right? So this is your customers, your materials, your certifying tradesmen, as we've gone over, your contractors. You need to manage them if you want your jobs to be efficient. So, hey, give me a show of hands in the camera if you've ever shown up to a job, or your team have ever shown up to a job and the site wasn't ready to go. Pretty much all of us, yeah? Right? Maybe if it's not quite that, it's the builder ringing you at 6:30 in the morning and saying, hey, it's not ready. And then you have to start scrambling to actually keep the guys busy, or get them onto another job, or figure out where they can go. Right? Where in your schedule are you calling your builders, your project managers, your homeowners, to ensure that, one, the site's ready, or two, they're actually going to be there, like if it's a homeowner, so that they can do the job. Right? Make a time to call like the project owner of that. So maybe you need to put in a call 2 weeks before, 1 week before, 3 days, maybe it's 1 day, and make sure that the job's ready to start, or that your part of the job is ready to start, so that you don't get turned up and get turned away. So that needs to be on someone's wheelhouse to actually own, right? So if it's not yours, it's somebody else. And those times may be different, but I'm sure most of us are feeling if you can't get materials, other people on parts of the jobs can't get materials. It's tough to get materials at the moment. So we've got to be prepared for that, but we've got to be making sure that we're proactive in reaching out to our clients to make sure that it's actually ready to go, so that we can deliver, right? If it's a homeowner, it's pretty easy to call at the start of the week and maybe do a reminder on the day. Me personally, I've actually been that guy that's forgotten to be home. I booked a consult for like a renovation that I was doing on my place, and it was a month away till they could come, and I didn't get any reminders. So I'm the guy who isn't home when the salesperson turned up to do some measures and do me a quote. So it can happen, right? So no reminders equals no show. So you got to make sure that you're proactive in that space. Yeah. If you have materials show up, like, do your order once and pray, right? Are we just praying, or should we be confirming that the materials are coming? Should we be confirming that things are on track, so that you have your materials to either pick up coming to site, however you do this as well. So we got to think about that too. Fourth one is, yeah, keep it visible. Like keep your schedule in front of you or in front of whoever's managing it, right? This keeps a great reminder to ensure that you have everything ready to go for the jobs that are coming up. If it's visible, it's easier to divert if needed. And you can see gaps coming up in advance that you can start to be proactive, right? Find the non-urgent work that needs to go in there. If you need to turn on a marketing switch, turn on the marketing lever and get some filler work in there as well. But if it's visible, you can see it and then you can react to it. One great example of a client that we had that identified a scheduling problem and then solutioned it really well is Taz from Dunton Group. I'm sure most of you guys know Taz, pretty active in the Facebook group. He's a weapon. He uses Fergus, and they do solar installations, high-end ones, and that Fergus is their job management software, and they use that to see what was coming up. But the limitation that he had and that they had was that they could only see 2 weeks in advance on Fergus. So if they were scheduling their jobs, that's all they could see, but they had 8 to 12 weeks of work booked out. So they couldn't plan for the stuff that was further ahead unless they kind of dug in, and it was a huge pain in the butt. So what they ended up doing at first was they got a bunch of whiteboards, and they put up a bunch of whiteboards and put all the jobs onto these whiteboards so that they could see 8 to 12 weeks ahead. But it proved to be quite timely and a bit of a pain because what they were doing is it would initially take them 15 minutes to like load the job and put it at a certain schedule and make sure they had everything ready for that job that was 3 months ahead, so that when it got closer to the time, they could obviously prepare for that. And then things would need to move in due course because some things come up for the client. Like the client decides that they're going to go away instead of get their solar done. So they need to change the date, and then it takes another 15 minutes to move that job and figure out where it was going to go. So it's really timely, and they had to update it on the whiteboards and in Fergus and in a couple of other places as well. So it was wasting a lot of time, and it wasn't very clear, and you couldn't see it unless you were right in front of it. So you couldn't see it out on site or make changes when you're away from the workshop. So it's obviously a bit of a headache for them. And so it was crazy important to the team so that they could be efficient and deliver that A-class service. So I guess the dilemma was to get further ahead with their planning. Really, the decisions were, do they get a bigger office with more whiteboards and, obviously expand the wall out that they needed to use to see ahead, or do they invest in a better solution to solve that problem? So up on the screen, you can see 4 50-inch TVs. And actually, if you want to know more about this, Taz filmed a little 10-minute tactic that he did for the boardroom guys, and it's up on the Facebook group. So if you search for it, that should come up, or if you can't find it, I'll help you. But he's got 4 50-inch TVs with Google Calendar up on the wall. So effectively now they can see as far as they want, and they can see where everyone's at a real quick glance. They can also see and adjust things on the fly rather than being stuck seeing that, this only in the office. So get it up on the phone, you can see where people are at. Get it up on the phone, you can make the adjustments. And you only need to make adjustments in one place and it will change everywhere, and everyone can log in and see where everyone's at. So saved that time for the admin, also saved that time for the salespeople, saved that time for Taz and Sam as well. So they got an automation company in to help them build this out. So it took a little bit of work, but they solved their problem. Now the scheduling issue is a lot better, and they can obviously adapt where they need to adapt. So yeah, real cool. If you want to check out the video, like I said, it's on the Facebook group. So check it out whenever you want. And then the last one is this thought of using a hopper, which is like a bank of non-urgent jobs so that you can use these to fill some gaps. So this might be things like regular service work that doesn't need to be done on a certain day or at a certain hour, no specific day and no real urgency behind it. Maybe Mrs. Jones rang up a while ago and she needs someone to come and look at, her toilet or hot water cylinder as it's making a weird sound, but it might not need to be done ASAP because it's not leaking, right? So there's no rush to get there. So you could have a list of these in your job management software or on a Trello board or something like that, but it's really a hopper of jobs that you can draw upon when you need to. And that way, if something gets changed and you're proactive and you've got a couple of days to react, you can fill that job in and make sure the team know exactly where they're going there and keep them busy and utilize the whole time. So just want to pause here for a quick second. I'd love to know, guys, just in the chat box, what's been most valuable or useful so far? Love to know what that is for you guys just before we dive into the next piece. What's been most valuable or useful so far? Just let me know in the chat box. Love to know what that is. Labor utilization greater than 100%. Is that the goal, Rob? Love it, man. All right. Cody, yeah, screens in the office as a whiteboard, 100%, keeping it visible, absolutely. Nice. Lots of people, yeah, keeping it up in front of you, absolutely. Killer. Reminder, use jobs. Oh, sorry, I missed that one. Reminder to use jobs with no schedule. Yeah, okay. Right, role, Michelle, yeah, maybe you need somebody in there to do your scheduling. Use a hopper, having jobs to fill in for when the schedule slows down. Jared, yeah, absolutely, mate. Plan further ahead. Yeah, might be just that, eh? Visibility. I like Taz's outfit. Yeah, he's a good man. He's got that nice sweatshirt on in the video, I think, eh? Shouldn't use a Nazi gold picture. Fair enough, Hamish. All right, man. I'll have a look at that. Cheers, dude. Jenny, spend 30 minutes every day scheduling and the visual aspect for forward booking. Yeah. Hey, look, it might not even be 30 minutes. It might be more. It might be less. It really depends on the granularity of what you need to put in and how many check-ins you need to do with clients per day or per week, right? So making sure that the right amount of time is being spent and that it's locked in is killer. Hopper's a good idea. And yes, visibility, right people for the right roles. Toby, nice. Under promise and over deliver. I struggle with that. Are you over promising, Murray? It shouldn't be too hard to change, mate. Maybe we need to have a chat about it. Amelia, I think I need more help in the office. Hey, good call. Maybe this is a nice realization that, yeah, you just can't take that time if you're doing the scheduling. Ruben, right role, assigning responsibility and setting time aside. Yeah, absolutely. Plan. We can get status jobs with no schedule and get a list of them. Yeah, nice, Doug. All right, no, I feel I'm following you, man. Brent, plan further ahead and keep it visible. Granularity. Yeah, detail, man. That's all I mean by that. All right, all good. No worries, Megan. Good to see ya. Cool. All right, sweet. So, hey, the next part of this today, guys, is we want to jump in and do some masterminding. So I sent out a workbook, and really it's got two parts. So if you scroll to page 6, or even if you just get a pen and a piece of paper, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on two things. The first one is, if you have some stuff in your business right now with your scheduling that's working, I'd love for you to just take a minute and just write that down, whether it's in the workbook, whether it's on a pen and a piece of paper. I'm just going to put 1 minute on the clock. And can you just write down everything that comes to mind with your scheduling and getting you guys efficient, whether it's around materials, whether it's around your certifying tradesmen, whether it's around how you communicate with your clients or your tradesmen. How do you have this working for you, and what is working really well right now? And we're just going to go into some breakout rooms and just take 15 minutes to do some quick shares. So look, if you can set up those breakout rooms just while we're writing some notes down, mate, just groups of 5 or 6, man. We're going to take 15 minutes. So if you just take 1 minute, write down some ideas that you have or what is working for you right now, something that you're doing and you have in place. And we've got a great opportunity to share, and then we'll come back to the wider group and make sure that we extract the juice. All right, welcome back, everyone. Love for you guys to dob in a mate. So if there's someone that was in your room that you'd love to dob in and have share, can you chuck their name in the chat box? And I'm going to get them to unmute so we can get them to share what they're doing. Doesn't have to be everything in the world, but just something that you feel like they've done that was pretty good. So chuck their name in the chat. And just while we do that as well, if you haven't got project or service next to your name, it'll be really helpful to do that, just so that we can chuck you in the right room, because we're going to do one more room. And this is all around problem solving your issue. So make sure that you've got next to your name, project or service, the type of work that you primarily do at least. That will help us make sure you're sitting with the right people, so we can help you get the right answers to your question. I see Trev isn't there, but Trev's been dobbed in. Mark has been called out. Call on the way to do every job. Pretty cool. Hey, Mark, do you want to unmute for me, mate? I'd love to hear about how you implement that, and also how you make sure the team are doing that as well, if it's the team themselves.
No, I don't want to, but I will. We've just got a rule that if we don't call on the way and offer the customer a coffee, a loaf of bread, a litre of milk, then we don't go there. If they don't answer, we SMS Then the guys or the girls will contact the scheduling department and ask whether it's possible they could call, because some clients don't like answering the phone. But they're talking about 1% don't answer the phone. But a lot of people do forget. They get an emergency, they get an illness, a COVIDity problem, and there's no point in going there if they're not home. But that's our rules. That if you have to call on the way to every single job, doesn't matter who it is.
Nice. And so how far before would the guys be ringing the client?
When they're on their way.
Okay, so it might be 5 minutes, it might be 20.
Absolutely. Doesn't matter.
Okay. Cool.
Doesn't matter.
All right, nice. And do you have anything before that in place as well to ensure that they're going to be home, or is that the call and that seems to work for you?
Yeah, it works for us, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Great share, man. Appreciate that. Trev, you've been called out, buddy. Tip top for scheduling service jobs at the end of the day of project work. Would you mind sharing a little bit about your process and how you implemented it, mate?
Busted again, hey? I'm always in trouble.
Apparently.
So a lot of our work is project work. Our service work's declined over the last couple of years for various reasons, which we hope to pull back again. But in the meantime, those service clients that have been with us for the last 12 years will always do their work at the end of the day. So if the guys start on a project at 6 a.m, their knock-off time would generally be 2:30 after an 8-hour day. But the guys quite like it, but they'll do a service job on the way home. So they might end up working till 5:30, but that time's all chargeable. So it's not like if it's on a project, if they're working overtime, it's costing you. This is actually making you money. Yeah. So squeezing a job in at the end of the day.
Cool. And so what's the way that you coordinate with the guys when they're like, hey, I want to do some extra hours since I started like earlier in the day type thing, and how you fill them with the work?
Yeah, most of the guys want the overtime. So it's a matter of, hey, I've had an urgent call in. Can you go here? And one bloke might go, no, I'm going to the gym this afternoon. So you call the next guy and he goes, yep, I'll be onto it, and just keep it fluid.
Nice, man. Love it.
Work with them. They work with us.
Nice share, man. Nice share. Killer. Thanks, man. And DMB, I think that David has been called out as well. David, would you mind sharing, mate, for your new home process?
Ours is pretty simple. Through Simpro, there's obviously a text message automatically sent out to the clients beforehand. They can accept or deny, and then after we've finished the job, 3 days after we've finished the job, we'll give the client a call, just a follow-up, see how the job went, and yeah, it seems to work for us.
Very cool, man. Nice. Appreciate the share, dude. Appreciate the share. All right, nice. So we're going to jump into some breakout rooms again, but we're talking our biggest headache this time. So there's probably some sort of challenge that you're having. Doug put in the chat before that he's having chats around like how to get that non-urgent work into your schedule, and making sure that it's happening. So what's the process for that? So, hey, it's a good opportunity to write down what that biggest headache that you're having with your scheduling is right now. And then we're going to chuck into some breakout rooms again, another 3 minutes just to really dial in what that problem is and have the rest of the team sort of jump on that problem and help you out and make sure that you find a solution. So we'll just take 30 seconds, just write down what that headache is for you right now. And then we're going to open those breakout rooms again, and we'll pop you into some rooms. Should be more aligned with different types of businesses that are doing the same type of work than you. And you should be able to get some killer answers for some ways to fix and get rid of those headaches. The mute button. There we go. What was the takeaways, man? What's the changes? What's the actions?
Quite that one. I think we kind of all just spoke about it, the previous one before, really. Just like asking specific questions before we go to site, planning for like full day's work before you send staff there, writing stuff down on whiteboards and stuff.
Yeah.
Having a bit more visuals.
So what do you need to do for your business?
What do we need to do? Probably. What do we need to do? Probably.
Scheduling.
Yeah. Maybe just ring up. Maybe.
Making sure the sites are.
Yeah, making sure that making sure the sites are ready for us. I think.
It's not a big issue,
Yeah.
but
Just making sure the site agents and the builders actually telling us the truth.
Yeah. Sometimes it takes a few phone calls, eh?
Yeah, maybe asking more specific questions about like specific things that we know we've got to go there to do that we don't need. If that particular thing's not ready, then the rest can wait till it is ready. Instead of sending a guy there to do a half day's work and coming back. Maybe.
Is that something that you do at the moment, or is it a change that you're going to make?
Don't know, do we do that at the moment? That's something we do at the moment, is make sure we've got a full day's work with people and make sure that there's specific, I mean, making sure that the job we're going to do is ready, because if it's not, then the rest of it can wait till it is ready, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what we do at the moment. It's just sometimes the site supervisor tells you it's ready.
Yeah, I think we are. It's just we're getting misinformation from agents.
They think is urgent, but
yeah, so they probably say we've got this and this and this needs to be done. But to be fair, the second this and this doesn't need to be done yet. Maybe the first one does need to be done, but that's not ready for us, so we don't really need to go until it is ready. So I guess it's just a bit more, trying to.
So just like drilling into them a little bit more and doing it out further maybe and on the day. Or the day before at the start of the week.
Yep.
Okay.
I think what I'm doing that at the moment is just obviously just trying to make. I mean, if it happens a couple of times, probably just have to say to them, look, can you be a bit more honest with me about stuff, because some of our sites are a bit far away. Having to drive all the way down there for like an hour there, an hour back for stuff that's not ready.
Yeah, cool. All right, sweet, man. Absolutely easy to waste time, if you send the guys and it's not ready, or they're telling you some fibs before the show. So what do you reckon you'd ask them instead to make sure that they're not lying to you?
That's a good question. More specific stuff, like we know what needs to be done, and if that particular part of it isn't ready yet, then we don't need to go down there straight away. So I guess it's to be a bit more firm with. I mean, you can only, I guess you've got to believe people, right? You've got to trust and stuff like that. So they say yes, and you get it, it's not ready, then okay, well, we know next time that we might have to be a bit more wary of this person fibbing a little bit. So maybe
And who owns those phone calls? Is that you, or is that like your ops manager?
Maybe my ops manager, yeah.
Okay, killer. All right, sweet. Welcome back, everyone. Good to see you. Really, obviously, we've talked about the biggest headaches. We've been able to pick the brains of the other guys in the groups. I'd love for us to just debrief real quickly on what the biggest takeaways were from the session. And I'd love for you to just tell me in the chat. And if it's a big one that you want to share, just chuck share in the chat. And I'd love to unmute you and hear about what it is that you want to implement. But otherwise, if you can pop in the chat what your takeaways are. What did you learn, and what are the action points? Like, what is the thing that you're going to go and change so that you can be more efficient with your scheduling from today, from next week? What is that thing for you guys? Very helpful, Amelia. Good to hear. Good to hear. Communication, Mike. Mate, is that communication with your tradesmen, or is that communication with your clients? Or is it all of it that you need to start ramping up? Bomb list for servicing jobs. Cool. Can you tell me a little bit more about that, Amelia? Is that all good? Do you mind unmuting and just giving us a little bit of a share?
Well, it's actually Doug Brennan's, he's just such a wealth of knowledge with the way he does his servicing. I could listen to Doug talk for hours. So no, just he has different components for different aspects of a job. So going to a servicing job, it's a servicing call, and then his guys can do different components, like the labor portion of the installation based on whatever the customer chooses.
Sure.
And, I know the benefit of all the fixed pricing and things like that. And it does seem a bit like a massive beast to be able to create. And it's probably always a working document or a working job to change things and make things better. But yeah, it's the way he does things, I definitely think can make life a hell of a lot easier from a servicing point of view.
Cool. Okay.
For us and a client, you can give them that price straight up. But yeah, right. Doug calls them the bomb list, so I like that.
Nice. Thank you for that. Very cool. Keep going on setting up arrow flows so we can have schedules visible for staff. Yeah, nice, Steph. Make sure that everyone can see where they're going throughout the rest of the day or week. Mark, contacting clients before each job more often. Social media is here to stay. Make the most of it in a positive way somehow, Mark. Okay, sweet, man. I just challenge you, dude. Like, what specifically? You don't have to unmute or share now, but just maybe to think about, like, how would you use your socials to actually communicate maybe with your tradesmen or your clients better? So yeah, that'd be cool to hear maybe in the future, man. Murray, communication is key. Yeah, it absolutely is. Lisa, thanks to our group back costing jobs properly to help with schedule times. Okay, cool. Determine how long an average job is taking staff. So yeah, really dialing it back and understanding how long the guys are spending on the job so that you can schedule more accurately. Yeah, I like that. Brian, summary of job task times for incoming jobs, for bookings for the admin to book. Nice. Default diary for the ops manager, Megan. Nice. All good. John, I've always loved the whiteboard displays, but for now, communication schedules as jobs arise is working until staff is 5 guys. Yeah, cool. And obviously using tech is really helpful if you're splitting up your teams in any way, or if COVID seems to get within your guys and you can't get everyone into the workshops. That's quite important to think about. Service mate automation has been good, but more phone calls. Okay, Mark, nice. So not just relying on the job management software automation, like really making sure that you're actively texting or calling. Nice work. Sweet, guys. Well, hey, that's the session today. Hopefully there was a lot of good takeaways in there for you, and you've got some action steps to start scheduling more efficiently. So hey, it was cool to hang out. If there's any other shares that you're wanting to chuck up, or if you wanted to look at Taz's video, make sure you do that on the Facebook members group. Otherwise, I will see you all on Thursday for the Q&A. Cheers, guys.
Are you looking to improve your business? Now, the fact that you're still watching tells me you are, in which case, this next part is for you. Now, right now, I'm giving away 4 free business planning sessions. Now, in these sessions, we'll give you a map to improve your cash flow, build systems, and win more profitable work. Now, I only have 2 requirements. Firstly, you must be the owner of an electrical, a plumbing, or a similar tradie or contracting business. Secondly, you'll be making a minimum of $40,000 in revenue per month. Now, if that's you and you're interested, then all you need to do is click the first link in the description. Talk soon.